This is Elder's Song of the Magic Online clan Seraphim, and got another cube draft for you. So this actually is a pretty good pack. So I do think there are pretty much like two first pick material type cards, and that would be like Elspeth, Knight Errant, Sword of Body and Mind. Those are definitely the best cards in the pack. Close third probably would be like Tolarian Academy. But yeah, I have never actually had a chance to draft Elspeth, so that's what I'm going to go with. Okay. Alright, so Tezzeret Agent of Bolas is sweet, but not the right colors. Could draft sort of a white aggro deck. It's kind of where I'm leaning so far, and I would like to draft Figure of Destiny to do that. If I get back a quarter Paladin, that would be sweet. But that's probably Figure of Destiny and Tezzeret are probably the best cards in the pack, and I think Figure of Destiny goes along better with what I've picked so far. Alright. Got a Karn, Recurring Nightmare, Calciderm, Emberhauler, Manowar. So, Recurring Nightmare is probably the best card in the pack, but I don't think I want to go into black at this point. If I was going to go into blue, Control Magic is pretty sweet. But I think I'd rather just stay with aggro, so I have the choice of like a Calciderm, Emberhauler, or a Blood Knight. I think because I'm going white, I'm going to go ahead and take this Calciderm and try to cut off that color. Alright, so could go white-green, possibly. See, there's a Source of Plowshares, which I don't really want in this deck that much, because it does let them gain life. It's kind of counterproductive. The wall is not really that good. So I have like a Treetop Village, Curd Ape, Jaguar. I'm already not in the right colors for Curd Ape. I don't really want to play 3. But I could go green and grab Treetop Village. I think Swords of Plowshare is probably the better card, but I'd rather have Treetop Village at this point. Maybe we can go green, white, aggro. I'm not really sure if that's actually a reasonable archetype or not, but we can find out. Alright. So we do get past a Goblin War Driver, which is an aggro card, but we also have Chimeric Match or Mishra's Factory. I think probably the Factory is better than a War Driver at this point. Yeah, I'm going to take the Factory. It's easier to play and harder to destroy, so I've got 2 man lands here. Alright, so capture Sulfuric Vortex. Wow, well, I guess if we're going to have a Vortex here, I might as well go red. Capture, not really the right strategy at this point. Even though we're not that far in, but I'd rather just try this aggro strategy out, so. I like the Vortex and the Knight of Meadowgrain. And Bone Horde would be nice too, but I'm going to go ahead and grab the Vortex here. And it looks like I'm going to be playing red after all. Alright, so looks like it's going to be Solitary Visionary. Path to Exile is nice, but not really where we're looking to go. Alright, so here we have the choice of a Squee or a Bone Splitter. I don't think Squee is actually going to be that useful in this deck, so I'd rather have a Bone Splitter. So, Squee's good if you have to have like a Sacrifice Outlet, and we don't really need one of those, so Bone Splitter seems pretty good. Alright, that said, let's see, we get a Student of Warfare Nether Void. Nether Void is crazy, but Student of Warfare is just better. I mean, and with what we've got right now, I'd rather play Sulfuric Vortex, keep red, and go ahead and go with the Student. And I'm I'm pretty happy to get back in a quarter paladin. I like Whip Flare, but I don't like it in this deck. Against us, it'd be pretty good. So hopefully whoever grabs it's not going to be able to use it. And we've got a Blood Knight or an Ember Hauler. That's a bit difficult. They both cost the same. One, though, probably is a bit more aggressive than the other one. I think Ember Hauler is probably better. It's a bit of a toss-up. And we get a Plateau Dual Land. Either that or a Volcanic Hammer. Actually, I think Volcanic Hammer is probably better than having a duel. And a Goblin War Driver? Great, so it means no one else is probably an aggro. And a Ronom Unicorn. Fantastic. And a Flicker Wisp. Sweet. We got some pretty good late picks. Alright, so we're pretty firmly cemented in that archetype. But then we get past this pack, which is full of basically nothing that we can use. Fireball's the only card in here we can play. And it's not really that great in this deck because we're not going to have that much mana, but it could be alright. It's a piece of removal. Alright, so we're playing red and white. So it's between a Murderous Redcaps Fisher and Manic Vandal. I think I'd rather have the Coarse Sky Fisher at this point. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Coarse Sky Fisher. Alright. So, here it looks like Still Moon Cavalier. I like the Monk, but the Cavalier is probably going to be better, and I'll probably wheel the Monk, more than likely. Yeah, we'll find out. Wheeling the Monk seems pretty likely based on these few last picks we made. And let's see what we got. So, of course, Sanctifiers and an Elite Vanguard. Elite Vanguard we're gonna probably play. Sanctifiers really is not that great, but it'd be nice to have. I don't know if we're gonna I think we could wheel the Elite Vanguard more than likely, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it because I just would rather be sure to have it. Alright. Dismember. It's between that and Spike Shot Elder or Ankh of Mishra. I think it'd just be better to have a Dismember. That seems like a no-brainer here. And between these two cards, maybe the Ankh of Mishra would probably be better. But we'll see. This seems pretty obvious. Let's grab a Mirroring Crusader out of here. Yeah, I like that. Only other option would be like a Ball Lightning, and that's not really an option. Well, I guess it could be, but too expensive. 2 mana intensive. Mirroring Crusader is right about where we want. And it'd be nice to pick up, another piece of equipment perhaps. Like a sword. That'd be nice. We could get a sword. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cards. I like Steplinks. I like Incinerate. I like Hedge Mage. Steplinks probably will be better overall. But if Hedge Mage comes back, I would love to pick that card up. Either that or Incinerate. Even Hearthcoming, I guess, would be an okay pick. But Steplinks is pretty aggressive. Ooh, a Champion or an Oblivion Ring. I feel like Champion might be better, but it is removal. And it's any kind of removal. Yeah, I think we have to take the Oblivion Ring here and pass the Champion, unfortunately. Alright, and back to pack 1. There still isn't anything at all in this deck for us. Let's see. None of these cards are really that bad against us either. Or good against us, I should say. I guess I'd rather take a Blastoderm from somebody. Okay, we can't play any of these except for Murderous Redcap, and it is a Curve Topper, but could be reasonable. I mean, we could try it for... I don't think 3 colors is a good move for an aggro deck. Alright, so Monk or Temporal Isolation. I think I'd rather have a Monk here. Just some more aggressive creatures. And, of course, Sanctifiers. That'd be nice. It's probably a sideboard option more than anything else. So, I think I'll just take a Gerard's Verdict here. Wild Mikado. I mean, it would work in this deck if we played green, but there's no reason to do that. We haven't taken any green cards except for like Treetop Village. So I'd rather just have a... I guess I'll just take the Mikado. Why not? Just in case. And let's grab a Karmic Guide. Could potentially be a Curve Topper. And an Outpost, sure. So this is a pretty good pack. Jeez. Sword of Fire and Ice, Mirror Entity, Goblin Guide are the 3 cards we need. We would love, love, love to have. I think Sword of Fire and Ice, though, is probably worth picking up here. This is really a tough pick. Between these 3, they're all just amazing. Well, I'm willing to go with the Sword at this point. We do have enough creatures to play it, and it could be just fun. Alright. Elspeth Terrell. Probably too high on the curve. Other choices are Silver Knight, Manatithe, Arid Mesa. Huh. I think Elspeth Terrell probably is too ambitious. I think I'd rather just take the Arid Mesa. Maybe wheel the Manatithe or the Silver Knight. Alright, looks like Spectral Procession here. And then hopefully get back a Sacred Foundry. Because Procession does want you to have 3 white, which can be a little bit hard to get, especially with the curve we're looking at. But I think it's worth giving a shot. So we do need to look out for mana fixers. Skull Clamp. Skull Clamp. Skull Clamp could be a good choice here. It's an efficient equipment, and it will let us kill some of our creatures to draw some cards if we wanted to. Then again, we've also got Paladin Invec. Skull Clamp, Paladin Invec. I'm not sure whether this card, we really want the card draw or not in this one. Because we want to keep our creatures alive and not just be killing them. But I think we might have just enough creatures out. Yeah, I want to go ahead and take the Skull Clamp. That's clearly the better card. And I think probably have enough 2/2 creatures at least that can take it. So that we're not just losing our cards. Alright. Huh. Molten Steel Dragon. It's a 4-drop. Or there's Words of War. Huh. Or Arc Trail. This is a difficult one. I think I'd rather have a Molten Steel Dragon. And if we get back a Arc Trail or Words of War, I'm going to slam those. I'm not sure how much removal we actually want to have in the deck, because we're hopefully going to be more aggressive than anything else. But I think having a couple of 4-drops at the top of the curve is not too terrible. We do want to minimize, though, maybe have 1 or 2, so probably not going to play the red cap. Alright. Fire, Ice, White Knight, Fire Blast. Fire Blast hasn't really been that great. I'm going to go ahead and take the White Knight here, and if I will the Fire Blast, I'll take it. Alright, let's see what we got. Grand Coliseum, Goblin Patrol. I think probably Goblin Patrol. I want mana fixers, but I don't want anything that comes into play tapped, so Goblin Patrol seems like the pick here. No to Starstorm. So it's Hellspark Elemental or Priest. Priest probably better. So the Shadow. Disenchant or Ravenous Baboons. That's a bit too high on the curve. I guess I'll have a Disenchant instead. Just a little option here. So Silver Knight, Mana Tithe. I think I'll go with the Mana Tithe. That's unexpected for the most part in an aggro deck. Fantastic. We get a Sacred Foundry back. I'm surprised that Juzamjin, Upheaval, Sarcomancy, I mean, all these cards are very playable. Upheaval, I can understand. It's a bit confusing. Felwar Stone. Sure, I'll have another way to mana fix. Why not? And Words of War. Cool. I like that. That's just fine. And we've got 2 pretty useless cards. I'll go ahead and take the Fountain. I doubt whoever I'm passing to is going to be using the Buried Alive. And last we get a Bottlenose, which is not a bad card. Alright, so that was the draft. And we'll be taking this into Magic Online and doing some deck building. So I'll see you there. Alright, deck building time. Let's see what we can make happen here. So let's get our white cards in here. I guess the Unicorn is good enough to main deck. We'll see what we look like. Could just go mono white, jeez. Alright. Dismember. And all these cards, besides maybe Fireball, should probably go in. We've got Bone Splitter, Skull Clamp, Sword of Fire and Ice, Figure of Destiny, Still Moon Cavalier. Alright, so that's 28. Let's see, pull these over here. You know, looking at our red cards, like the best red card we have is like Sulfuric Vortex. So if we don't play any of these red cards, besides like Molten Steel Dragon and the Figure Destiny, which are multicolor, let's see. I want to play like 16 lands, so there's only room for like 2 cards really. Let's see if any of these cards just need to come out. 14 creatures. Technically like 15 here. So we could bring in like Sulfuric Vortex, Words of War. Both of these cards are probably worth bringing in. That leaves out Ember Holler, those 3. Yeah, I'm fine with that. And so we've got, I think probably an Outpost actually might be reasonable in this deck. We've got a Sacred Foundry, an Arid Mesa. Let's take a look at color. So we're going to go 16. Let's take a look at let's go Zendikar lands. Zen block. And let's see. Mostly white. So we've got already 1, 2, 3 sources of white. Let's go 10 and 3 mountains. We got 3 mountains, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 red sources. And 1, 2, 10, 11, 12, 13. I guess add another mountain in there. So we have 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 white. 6 and 12. Huh. You do need a lot of white. Yeah, I think that's probably okay. So sort of a mono white build, but a few decent red cards thrown in there. Only 2 cards that need red are the Vortex and the Words of War. And they're not essential to the deck. Yeah, I like it. I think it looks okay. It looks reasonable. We've got a couple of options here to bring in case we need it, and overall, I think the deck... Oh, I forgot to bring in the factory. I think the factory is probably worth it. So I'll take out our planes, put a factory in. So that's still 8, 9, 10, 11 planes. And 6 mountain. Maybe 1 less mountain now that I'm thinking about it. Put the planes back. Yeah, that feels better to me. Alright, and that's the deck. So we'll submit this and play some matches. Alright, round 1. We can test